Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Brand Growth Live. Hope you guys are having a great week. Today, we are talking with a community member from our brand growth community here on Facebook about their business, what's going on, what they're up to, so you can get to know them and we can help each other out. We're all on this journey together to build our brands. And it's nice to know what you guys are building out there, what you're going through, what's working, what's not, and we can share that together. So that's what this is about. And today's guest is Eric Musick. He's building a subscription box business. Looking forward to hearing more about that. Hope you guys are too. And just to get us going here, if you guys want to be a part of this Facebook group, this community of entrepreneurs, join that Facebook group at www.facebook.com/groups/brand growth now. It's right there on the screen for you. Check it out. And join our community and be a part of this. And you can come on the show too. You just got to be a part of the group. So now, before we get into bringing Eric on, I do want to mention what's been going on with me. I've been trying this live thing a bunch of different ways, bringing in answering top marketing questions one way, doing some one-on-one solo talking shows, trying to see what sticks. And what I've really liked has been this community type conversation. So we're bringing it back to that, getting down to square one and just making sure we can support each other as a community, because that's what I think has been the most valuable. So I hope you guys like that format, and I hope to have you guys on. And if you guys want to be a part of this and be in the comments and talk to us, let us know you're watching live. Say hello. Let us know where you're watching from and be engaged. And we'll see if we can connect with you in the chat. All right, let's go ahead and bring in our guest today. His name is Eric Musick. Eric, what's up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, brother. Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about you or yourself? But first off, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Tell us a little bit about you. I know you're part of the community. I've met you through another group that I'm in. I believe in masterminds and communities. We met in a group called Build Your Network Community, and a mastermind that's part of that as well, through a buddy of ours, Travis, who's also in this group.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about what you're up to, what your business is, and what you got going on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, it was the business came about, I guess, 18 months ago. It was literally lying in bed. We have 4 kids. We wanted to kind of start a business. We do a lot of watching what's called in Canada Dragon's Den, which is kind of your Shark Tank.
Yep.
And that's how we like to spend some free time. And we had an idea. My wife literally sat up in bed and said, "I have an idea." After our 4th baby, at the hospital, we had forgot a ton of stuff. So, we thought we were pros. And then even at baby 4, we couldn't believe how many things we forgot to bring to the hospital. So she had an idea to start a subscription box for moms and babies. So the box came about, the idea just with our own experience, and kind of we could help other moms and dads not forget stuff. So we decided to start a subscription box called Louie and Leia, and it's to help moms and dads and families prepare for their first birth year, basically. So from the tagline is from birthday to birthday.
That's awesome, man. As a father and someone who's been through that whole situation twice, I definitely know that first time, especially, I mean, other than everything you can possibly Google and calling your parents 100 times, you still are like, what am I going to forget that I need to bring to this hospital? And it's a very stressful time. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a place where you could really add some value, where people, I'm sure, would find that you're helping them with this kind of thing. How'd you come up with that idea? Where'd that come from?
Well, the subscription box was actually the original idea was more of just having a one box, and then customer acquisition is pretty pricey, so we decided to make it into a subscription format. So the whole idea of the scariness, the scary thing was trying to acquire customers. Everyone we're talking to was customer acquisition online through Facebook ads or Google Click, whatever. It's very expensive. So at least if you have a subscription format, we grew it from just having the hospital bag essentials, which was the original box, to having 4 other boxes. So your 0 to 3 month box, 3 to 6 months, kind of like following the whole child, when you're buying kid stuff, you have your 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12. So we decided to make that into a subscription format. So by the time we get to, someone maybe ordering box 3 or 4, we can start actually making a profit. So that's how the subscription box idea came about. But the actual idea, again, was just by experience. We just thought there was a need there there was nothing else like it, really. Sure, you can Google a checklist, but it doesn't help you pack your box. With us, we just made it simple. You order the box, you got everything you need going to the hospital. So it was more of finding a customer pain point.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a pretty difficult business to start up with just the amount of partners you have to source and finding materials for the box and picking
Yes.
the right products. Like, how did you even are you done with all that? Or are you still doing it?
You know what? Yeah, we're finally done. We're looking at launching in November now. This goes back about, like I said, 18 months. So it's we're new to the business world. We both have traditional jobs. My wife's a graphic designer. I worked as a cable technician for 15 years prior to this. So everything was new. We had to just kind of by fault, at first my reach out emails to suppliers and wholesalers were pretty poor. And it's no kidding that they would never really return my emails or calls. But
Yeah.
I researched more how to do it, got better at it. And, once I developed a better system and kind of like a template, it was pretty straightforward. You keep emailing and bugging a lot of people, but it's still not perfect. Like a lot of suppliers, it's surprising. You think you got a great thing for them. You just want to buy from them and have a product to sell, and they won't return your calls. So it's still, sometimes it would keep you up at night wondering why don't they want to sell product? Like what's going on here?
Yeah. What's the problem?
Yeah.
So that's good. You've gotten through the hard part. Oh, and now you just got to sell the thing.
Yeah, which brings us to the other thing. Now it's kind of like on the marketing side of things, right? So we've just completed our first lead magnet, which we're going to launch this week. Talking not only to yourself, but other people that are in the group. Just lead magnets are a pretty powerful tool, but now that's created, it's how to launch that lead magnet and how to get traffic to the lead magnet itself is another whole issue. So it seems like it never really stops, but the learning for sure never stops. We're always kind of running into, you open up one question, you have 10 more that pop up, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And this is you and your wife doing this together?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you doing before? What was your trade before?
Yeah. So my background, very blue collar. I still live in the same town I grew up in, 1,000 people in middle of Canada. And my background is being a cable technician. So I've been working for a company called Shaw Communications. If you're from the States, you would recognize something similar to Comcast or,
Right.
Cogeco, some of those cable giants. For us in Canada, Shaw is one of those. Worked with them in the commercial and residential department for 15 years.
Awesome, man. Well, it's always, as someone who had to leave, a career to do something on my own. I respect that you had the courage to get out there and like start your own thing. I imagine that was a pretty scary thing to do. What made you get over that hump?
You know what? I'm kind of blessed in a way. 18 months ago, there was a buyout option with our company. They offered it to 6,000 employees in the company. I was one of those lucky ones. It was a voluntary thing. You could take it or not. I'd say about half the people took it, half of them didn't. So I knew once I took it and they gave me 18 months before my exit date that I had some planning to do. And that's how we started really kind of trying to think of something else. And that's when we came up with the idea for the subscription box. So, I mean, it kind of, and I say it was a blessing because I'd probably still be working it otherwise. I got a family and kids, and it's not an easy thing. Some people start side hustles and all that, and some people, depending on who you talk to, believe in them or not. But I'm kind of an all-in guy. If I was going to go all in, I need to go all in. So I had to leave the job some way. The
Yeah.
buyout gave me that option. So
Well, I like it. And it's an uphill battle, everything, but you've already gotten so much of it done. I love that you found an idea that you guys were interested in getting behind and
yeah.
going all in on that. That's awesome. Are there things that have been like easier than you thought? You're like, oh, this is or at least that have been a big win these past couple weeks that we could celebrate with you?
Yeah, you know what? Things that have been celebrated. You know what? Last couple of weeks, we've kind of got all our suppliers on track. We've got those in place. Sorry, this thing keeps falling over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So suppliers are all in place. Our look, our logo, everything, like it's really guided us. Like actually the logo and the look has been one thing that's kind of guided us through the whole thing. Once we had that in place and kind of our our mission statement or whatever you want to call it, that that made things a lot easier, because every time we'd think of a product, if it didn't kind of adhere to that mission statement, it was out the window. So local wins are that, the fact that the lead magnet is coming out this week. All those things are big wins for us coming up, because we want to collect those emails before we launch. Probably mid-November is what we're looking at. So no, the thorns, if you want to call them that, the things that have been troubling us would be more on the side of logistics, legal stuff. How do you deal with customs brokers asking you these questions? You don't know what they're talking about. So the legalities, the marketing side of things are a bit challenging, but again, it's just one day at a time and planning it out.
Well, we got some community members chiming in. Kevin, thanks for watching. Amy says, good afternoon. Hi, Amy.
Hey.
Kevin says, you're the man, Eric. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Love the support. Let's get into like what's coming up next for you. So you've done some of the work in getting the products together. You have a November launch date worked out. I imagine you still have a lot to do. Like, how are you finding customers for this? What's your plan behind that?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. Like, to answer your first question, how do you plan for it? Like, I know on your podcast you talk about daily planners and kind of organizing yourself that way is kind of challenging, because even if you have them, sometimes they're still hard to implement, right? I know you've talked about it on your show before, and it's so true, because I'm so routine, and if I find if my routine gets something like life happens where my routine is burst for some reason, I really find it's easy to fall off track. So having a planner is kind of key to me. Now, I'm old school. I use like a pen and paper, and I'll write stuff down the night before. I'll even do what Darren Hardy would call like his Sunday planner, where I plan out my week in advance, and then kind of tune it up with some modifications daily. But other than that, sorry, I lost track of where I was going with this. What was your other question?
Yeah, how are you kind of planning for this November launch? What are you doing to get ready? I imagine you have a lot more to do still.
Yeah, for sure. So then the lead magnet's going to get the initial email list. That's our goal. We got a couple of those, kind of like the in-up max, right? So we got a free one. We got one that's going to pay up a bit, and then that's all going to be funnels. But Facebook ads, we're going to do too. Talking to different marketers in different areas of expertise in the marketing world. Looks like we're going to start just kind of using our own Facebook followers to start, just grow it very organically, test the waters, just, because you can spend a lot of money on Facebook ads and Google ads and all these different things. But I think we're not going to so much start with an expensive campaign, if you want to call it that. We're going to go kind of grow these small organic size. We're going to throw a couple $100s here and there, see what's working, see if we can gain traction. And at the same time, learn it ourselves, because we want to kind of learn and do a lot of it ourselves in the beginning, especially with we're bootstrapping this thing. Everything's is pretty tight budget wise, so we can't afford a $10,000 to $20,000 campaign. So we're going to throw a couple $100 here and there on Facebook ads, see what sticks, and then keep growing that as money comes in. But yeah, I mean, you're a marketing guy, you'd have a better idea to tell me how to go about launching this thing. But
yeah, no, we talked a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
And thumbs up, everyone, if you're liking today's content. Appreciate you guys joining in. The thing that comes to me is, and we talked to us a little bit, is I like to think of what's my actual, like, what am I trying to shoot for the first month, the first 3 months, 6 months, like what's my actual business goal? And then I map my marketing goals to those business goals, because it's, as marketers, the challenge we often have is that we're given challenges that we can't solve for. It's like the goal for the marketing is sales. And we're like, well, I can't guarantee you a sale with marketing, but I can guarantee you a number of eyeballs. I can guarantee you a number of people seeing an ad. I can't guarantee a conversion, but I can guarantee, like there's certain things that we can help with. So in my mind, I like to make sure first I have a goal that I understand, and then I can map a real marketing goal too. So for you guys, I know we talked about like figuring out how many are you actually trying to sell, because spending thousands and thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, if you only need to sell like 10 of these things, doesn't map up, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about that a little bit. You want to talk about like your goals to get going? You're starting off small and ramping up, right?
Yeah, especially as we're just ordering stuff in, right? So, I mean, the biggest challenge when you're bootstrapping a subscription box business is some people will do, they'll order their stuff all in advance, is what we're doing. So we're only looking to sell maybe like a couple hundred boxes per month to start, because that's what our stock is. And then when that income comes, we can start scaling. So, in the first 0 to 6 months will be, 100 boxes a month would be great. And then scaling that to, in 6 to 12 months, and then 12 to 18 months, we want to get over 1,000 boxes per month. Eventually, even either having to hire a fulfillment center, or expanding into renting a warehouse space and even employees. That's kind of the goal. But for the first 0 to 6 months, we're really concentrating on just growing it organically, small, so we can know if I'm ordering from supplier A, it takes me exactly this amount of time to get it here, so that we're not kind of keeping customers waiting. So figuring things out, growing it slowly, and then scaling from there.
Yeah, and what I like is when you talk about 100 customers, that seems realizable, like realistic. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
I can get 100 customers, and for me, I'm like, okay, in my town, what can I do here to get some people that I know, that people that are in the communities that I'm already engaged with, to
Yeah.
start being a part of that first buying group. Maybe there's 20 people that are local that can be a part of that, or little communities that you're already engaged with. And then hopefully that spreads some word of mouth. And then the ads bring in the other residual people. But what I like, also, the main thing I like about being small, is that you get to control the customer experience. You get to get that feedback, hopefully directly, everyone's information you get. You ask them, like, what'd you like? What didn't you like? And if they hated something, like, maybe you could send some substitute products, or have some things back up that you like, okay, we're going to get you something else that, like, that keeps them like really excited about the process and about working with you as a company, just so that you have that customer touch, and maybe
Yeah.
they have direct contact with you guys, or an email, or a customer service number, or whatever. Is great when you're small, because it's still enough that you can keep up with, as opposed to when you're like 10,000 orders come in, all of a sudden you can't talk to all 10,000 customers. It's just not going to work out. I love the idea of keeping it small.
Yeah, especially in the beginning. I couldn't agree more. And that's why we want to totally reach out to them, call them. We want to call them, send them video messages, thanking them, just little customer touches that the big companies, our competition is just not doing right now. We've ordered all the competition boxes, and the customer experience we found was not ultimate. So that's
Yeah.
kind of our part of our thing, is having the ultimate customer experience, and for us, that means quality. It means having things that are eco-friendly, whatever that means for each company. But for us, that's what it means. So, but being able to reach out to them personally after every purchase, and, writing them a handwritten note, in every box, those kind of things is what we're really going to be concentrating on. And I agree with what you're saying with staying local in the beginning. There's lots of trade shows locally, farmers markets. I don't know if you guys have that down south, where
Yeah.
you can bring so I mean, things like that are going to work well. Word of mouth is going to be a huge one, and kind of like maybe touching on what you're saying, is kind of becoming the local expert in that area first, and then again expanding from there.
Yeah, man. Well, and the other thing about customer feedback is you always find out these interesting nuances. It's like, we thought they'd love the diapers with the pictures of strawberries on them, and turns out, no, they just want the white diapers so they could see the line that shows when they peed. Like, there's
Yeah.
something like that you learn that you didn't know
Yeah.
or expect, and I think that's the
Totally.
best part of the whole thing.
Totally.
Uh, Maybe we could talk a little bit about things that you're still like, that are still hurdles that you're going through, obstacles. Maybe the group here has some ideas they can share in the comments later on too. Just things that are coming up, things that kind of you're trying to tackle.
Yeah, trademarking, stuff like that. When to start trademarking is one. We don't really need any patents, because it's a subscription box. Everyone knows some of the products you're going to find in the box. You already know them. You're just getting a better rate on them, basically. So, patents is not a big thing we are looking at, but trademarks, our name, trademarking the name. When is it a time to do that? Is there a specific, amount of income you make, and then you you trademark? Again, lead magnets, yes, creating them, but how do you push those now? Is it through, what are the best rates for them, to go through Facebook ads? How to properly target an avatar through your Facebook ads. Those are things we're kind of, YouTubing and finding out just the old fashioned way, because we do have an avatar that we've created. And I'm assuming everyone would know what an avatar is on here. I don't know if you want to touch on
Yeah,
that, but
yeah, that's fine. No, they got
yeah. So,
it.
but how to exactly, we have a specific avatar, it's a affluent mom that cares about nature, being organic, eco-friendly. She has got to be probably pregnant or no pregnant friends. So between say 20 and 40, right? So how do you specifically target people like that? How to track those once you do Facebook them, tracking them through analytics and whatever. I'm sure there's better apps out there now than there was even a year ago. So all these things are stuff we're now looking at because we're about to launch. So those are some of the hurdles that are kind of like keeping us up at night and sometimes keeping you even, spinning in the same place because it's almost so many things you don't know where to start, right?
Yeah, well, and that's a good point. And in terms of trademarks and whatnot, if anyone in the group has experience with that and you know a good time to think about that, I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on that if you've been through that same process. I haven't. I've heard all kinds of different opinions, so I'm not going to chime in on that because I'm not the expert. But it's a great question. I think we've all thought about that at some point in time. For me, I'm like, worry about the business until it becomes a big enough problem that you actually need to address it, or hopefully you have to get ahead of it. But for me, I'm like, just grow the business, get some sales out there. If you need to change your name because it competes with someone, like, you could change it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, and we got the .com. It's not like, those are
Yeah.
obviously the things you look at, right? And then that I'm more, more if someone like, Amazon, they're so big now, they could turn around and call it, we're Louis and Leia, they could call it Luis and Leia or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, is that a trademark infringement? I don't know, right?
Yeah. Well, good news is most, Amazon's not going to care about us guys out here building little businesses.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably fair, that's for sure.
No, but what's interesting though is I like the idea that you're thinking of, like in terms of your marketing, not just what do you do one or two things at a time, but what is a strategy? Like, what is the plan for your business in terms of marketing, and how are you going to measure that plan? How are you going to make sure you're doing the steps you need to execute on it? And that's something that I do work with people on all the time. It's something I did in my previous career. The idea that you have to set your goals, B, figure out what's the strategy that like maps to those goals so that you can achieve them. And then what are the tactics? So it's like, okay, like Facebook is a tactic. It's not a strategy, right?
Right.
Like your strategy is, okay, you have this avatar, which is just who's your customer, right? And you say, okay, if my customer is this mom person at this particular age that's ready to have kids, how do I get in front of them? Well, I want to make sure I like the people that are just about to be moms, but we don't know much more about them. I want to have this. I want them to know that we exist, or whatever it is.
Right.
The people that are moms and we know that they're like about to go to the hospital the next 6 months. I want to be in the top of their consideration set. I want them to be telling their parents about me. And like step 3, the ones that are like just about to buy or just about to have the baby. I want them to be getting multiple messages from me, to know, like, top of mind, getting reminders that I'm doing this every day. Like, this is a bad example, but like you have these different situations. And then you say, okay, the strategy is to deliver timely messages to the ones that are closest, and just deliver broad kind of introductory education messages to the ones that are just getting into this product. So you have different ranges of strategy.
Right.
And then you're like, tactically, now I've got to choose, okay, what are my channels? Like, what's the, like, generally, okay, I know I'm not going to be producing radio commercials, or outdoor billboards or TV, like, so really my channel consideration is really down to like digital for the most part, and maybe trade show booths or whatever. So you're like, okay, given that consideration set, what are my tactics within those channels? Okay, Google Display Network, Google Search, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. What is my consideration like for each of those? Okay, if I do Facebook ads, is that the majority of my spend, or am I trying all these little things at the same time? Am I doing one at a time? You have like a million questions.
Totally.
Basically, but all these questions are a plan, right? And that's the beauty of it. As you start to ask more and more questions, you start to write things down like, okay, I'm going to try this first. And that's what I recommend, is to make it not overwhelming, because even me talking about it is like, it's a million things.
Yeah, totally.
You pick the one thing. You're like, okay, I know I want to do Facebook ads. All right, like, let's start with that. Let's figure that out. I don't have to know it perfect, but I need to try something. $30, you can try a Facebook ad. It's not a lot of risk, but you'll start to understand the choices you have to make in running Facebook ads. And then as you learn it a little bit more, you can outsource. You could hire someone that when they say, I run Facebook ads, you've done it a little bit now, so you understand their language. That's all I think you need to, as any business person, I think you need to understand the language of something and then outsource it if it's not your expertise. But if you don't do it at all yourself, you're not going to have any clue what they're doing if they're succeeding.
Yeah, that's so good. Like I love that. And that's where we're at, even like when it comes to stuff like bookkeeping, like I'm going to outsource that eventually, but I'm going to do it in the beginning because I want to know the language. That's a great way to put it. I want to understand it, at least when they're talking to me. I'm not, getting fleeced because I know what they're talking about a little bit. So, yeah, that's another great point. Like, knowing where to put the money, I think moms generally, and the women can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like Facebook is going to be key. Instagram, Pinterest is kind of like our top three
Yep.
areas where we'd like to really target. So actually my wife being a graphic designer, she's been really creating a lot of cool content on Instagram. That's going to be, we'll kind of cross content, hopefully use that for other things as well. But we got a plan, and she's bought, she listens to Amy Porterfield stuff a lot.
Yep.
And just like planning how to deliver the content, because you can do it all on Sunday and then have it delivered in a timely sequence, like what you were saying. So that she
content.
Yeah, so that all that stuff is super cool, and we're both learning it as we go.
Yeah,
so
list building's huge. You're gonna like live and die by your list. So I love that you can start now. You don't have to wait till the product's done. You can start now engaging in communities, putting out lead magnets that acquire people's information that might be in that right target group that we're talking about. That's awesome that you start that now. Are you doing other things to help kind of get involved with your communities and build your brand? I know you mentioned you were taking a podcast like creation course.
Yeah. So coming this New Year's, I still got to talk to my coach about this. I took a coaching course by Travis, our mutual friend, Travis Chappell. Took his VIP day course for podcasting last week, actually, and it was fantastic. And the actionable steps that I have now, the clarity that it gave me, I got a clear plan, 6-week plan after my 7-day action plan. So we're going to use that. The name of the show, I'll tell you here now. You're hearing it here first.
Awesome.
It's going to be called, wait for it, The Subscription Box Show. So, there's and the reason we chose that, quite simply, it's going to be used as a platform to gain a bigger audience for not only our business, but we love the podcasting format and for so many different reasons. So depending on when he allows it to, and kind of coaches me to, I think January. It's too late now to launch before Christmas, and I don't want to be launching in the middle of that, very busy time. So I think January is when we're going to launch, and that's going to be, I wouldn't say it's a funnel for our own box, because that's not the purpose of building the podcast, but it's another way to reach a broader audience, certainly.
Yeah, what I like is, because you could build, if you wanted to reach your audience, you'd build a show for moms that moms listen to, right? But
exactly.
What I like is you're going to, the value of podcasting for me is networking. It's networking and learning. So you doing a show on this, you can get in the room with other people that are running subscription box companies, learn their tricks of the trade, become an expert in that space, maybe do other subscription box products. I love that. And maybe you'll connect with other people that know all the right suppliers and like the delivery, distribution issues that you have. You need a tribe of people that are doing what you do. I love that.
Totally. You can use the example again. I'll use Travis as an example, or even John Lee Dumas. Like when they started their podcast, John wasn't the greatest entrepreneur, but he interviewed, 2,000 of them and became quite the entrepreneur himself. For Travis with networking, same thing with me. I'm a beginner when it comes to subscription boxes. I'm launching a show that's going to show people how to launch a successful subscription box by interviewing successful subscription box owners. So
yeah. Well, and you might innovate the space. It might be the subscription triangles at some point. You might like change the game and start sending triangle shaped boxes out to people.
That's right.
Blow everyone's mind. Who knows?
Who knows? You never know.
Yeah. Subscription spheres. Hard to say. Not the easiest to market, but you might be the man who comes up with that. So.
It could be. Yeah. We're going to revolutionize the industry. So
change it up.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the podcast. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm sure the entire community here will get behind you when you are out there promoting and looking for people to listen. Anything you want to leave the guests, the listeners, the tribe here with today, and how they can find you, connect with you, just follow what you're doing?
Yeah, right now things are still under construction. The best way is through my email, no doubt. Either one, you can go to eric@louisandleia.com. And if you want to type that in there, and then, or eric@thesubscriptionboxshow.com.
Awesome, brother. Are you going to Vegas
Yes, I'm going to Vegas, and I think all your listeners should be going to Vegas too.
Let me
Actually,
talk.
Travis,
Go
yeah,
ahead, give your endorsement, please.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, an investment in yourself is so key. Like, going back to that VIP day, just really quickly, it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done when it comes to investing in yourself. Because honestly, before that, I probably only bought, a couple of good books here and there, and a couple of online courses. But this was the biggest investment in myself. And now the VIP day, I saw that the VIP tickets, or sorry, the Build Your Live, um, Vegas, what we're talking about, the price has gone down to $99, and they sold out of the VIP tickets, if I'm not mistaken
They
now.
did.
So for $99, man, I mean, that's a steal. I don't know what you want to say something about it, but
Yeah, no, so for everyone that is trying to catch up, there's this amazing event. I'm going to be in Vegas with my buddy Travis, who's throwing this event at Top Golf. It's called Build Your Network Live. I'm going to see
yeah,
if I can share my screen real quick. Let's see if it'll let me bring it up here. If you'll bear with me, there it goes. Uh, it's at Top Golf, November 8th through 10th in Las Vegas, and it's this. The goal is to learn how to build your network and your business. And Travis is our host. He's the one who's coached some of us on podcasting. He has a top 25 business podcast. And the speakers are just amazing. Steve
yeah,
Sims, founder of Blue Fishing and author of that book as well. Brad Lee, founder of Lightspeed VT. Mark Brazil, co-founder of Iconic, who I know does some work with Gary Vee. Dan Fleischman, the youngest founder of a public company in history. Michael O'Neill, who's
crazy.
a legend out there, founder of Solopreneur Hour.
Yeah.
Mark Wade, friend of mine who runs Virtual Summit Software. I mean, literally the list goes on and on. A couple of
Mhm.
people from House Hunters, the Flipping Blueprint, so obviously in that house space too. Uh, just literally the speakers alone are worth it. And he's selling this thing for $99. It's
It's crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Uh, I jumped into the $700 VIP ticket because I want the extra day ahead of time to do the extra connection.
Yeah.
But it's a steal at 99. I have the link up here on the screen for anyone that's interested in buying. If you go through this link, I am an affiliate. I help him out, but that just means I literally get like pennies for this because this is just the $99 version. But really, I'd buy tickets for my friends just to bring them because it's such a steal.
Totally.
You get, and for that cost alone, you're getting a couple days at Top Golf, a party, food, and speakers, and you get to work through your business and meet entrepreneurs. It's amazing. So this isn't supposed to be a big promo for that, but I believe in it so much that I'm excited to talk a little bit about it. So
Yeah, and you never know where that's going to lead you, right? Like, you might meet not even a speaker, it could just be another entrepreneur that's there that changes everything for you. So, I mean, I'm a big believer in just going out there and good things are going to happen.
yeah, man. So mutual friend of us and the show. And that being said, thanks for coming on the show today, man. I'm going to wrap us up, but appreciate having you. I appreciate you being in the community, and I look forward to what happens with your business.
Thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
All right, brother. I'll let you go. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in this week. I appreciate you guys out there in the community. If you are in the brand growth community and you want to be a part of the show, just shoot me a DM. You know I'm listening. You could do that at any point. You could always join the brand growth community. As I said, join the link down there. If that's too long, just go to brandonbrands.com/FB for Facebook. That's the quicker way to get there. But you could always do that. I do want to leave you guys with a little bit of something. If you're out there trying to figure out how to build your business, build your brand, uh, I have a little starter kit out there. It is a checklist to help you figure out how to get your brand online and get you moving and to figure out, are you doing the right things? Are you thinking about your target audience? Are you showing up in the places where people are looking for you? Go ahead to go to brandonbrands.com/checklist. Check that out. It's just a little starter guide for you, but hopefully it helps. And I'm keep building these things because I know sometimes you guys find value in it. And as I find useful things that I can build and share with you, I'll do that. So go ahead, check it out on the site. Otherwise, just keep tuning in each week. I'll try to go on Wednesdays at 1, but sometimes I'll just drop a note in and let you guys know I'm going live at a different time so that I could accommodate different people's schedules. And I hope you guys appreciate the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in each week. If you are watching a little bit later, that's cool too. I love replays. Type in #replay. Let me know you guys checked it out. And other than that, I will catch you guys out there building your businesses. Build your business, build your brand. Have a good one. Catch you next week.